is up, everybody? Welcome to the Cruisers Podcast. My name's Alex.
And I am Derek. Alex, it is great to see you this evening. And to all those watching or listening to us, it's great to see you as well. We hope that you are safe. We hope you had a great 4th of July weekend with friends and family. And we're especially thinking about those in your home state, Alex. Hurricane Beryl is moving its way through. How are things in Texas?
Well, just a couple of hours ago, I'm in Fort Worth area, so North Texas. We had about 15 minutes of just a torrential downpour. But
Mm.
my best friend lives just north of Galveston in Kingwood area, just outside of Houston, and he sent me some video footage of their backyard, and all their trees are down. Lots of flooding where he's at, and man, my thoughts and prayers go to everybody in the path of Beryl. She's definitely hitting hard down in South Texas right now.
Absolutely. She is. And a lot of people said, hey, she's not going to be that bad, a category 1. But those winds come, the rains come, the flooding comes. I know Galveston has been hit hard. Most of the island, if not all the island, is without power. There's a lot of hotels, for example, telling cruisers that are supposed to come in later in the week don't even come until Friday. We have a big group cruise. Amber Callahan's group cruise is on the Jubilee this coming Saturday. She's got 40 or 50 people going. We're in contact with them, of course, but some of those hotels are telling people don't even come down here until late in
Oh
the week.
wow.
So, Texas, we are praying for you. We hope that everything is restored very, very fast. We also realize in moments like this that cruising is something that we love, but it's not a necessity. There are people going through losing their homes, having to repair things on their homes. Our hearts go out to you. Like Alex said, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And hopefully, if you've been impacted, before you know it, you'll be on the other side and hopefully planning a cruise to get away on a vacation. We've got a new series we're going to introduce to you today. And this is going to be a multi-part series. You're going to see these episodes the next few weeks be a little bit shorter because we're going to hit these things and keep going. But the series is going to be interesting. I will share kind of what it's about. It's cruising from end to end. So we will start today by sharing a little bit about this first episode, which is going to be picking your cruise. How do you pick the cruise that's right for you? You may be surprised at what some people look at about cruises that are right for them. But Alex, there are some other episodes in this series as well. What are some of the other things that we're going to look at when you look at end-to-end cruising?
Well, not only just we have to pick and figure out where we're going to go. What about when we're going to go? Do we want to
Yeah.
go during hurricane season? Do we want to go in the winter time? What about packing? I know you guys are about to start packing your bags to go to Europe in the next 10 days.
Yeah.
You've got little ones. How many pieces of luggage do you have per person? Do you allow the kids to bring only one bag or two bags? And then what about excursions? And just
Yeah.
there's so many things under the cruising umbrella that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I can't wait to record them and get those episodes out to you guys.
That's right. We are excited about this series, and we do have a couple of handfuls of episodes that will go in this series, such as some of those things like what do you do on sea days? What do you do on port days? The dreaded debarkation day when your
Mm.
cruise is over. But we are open to your ideas. Alex and I have left some slots open. They are blank right now. And if there's something in particular that you want to see as part of this series, something you want to see discussed, maybe you want Alex and my opinion on something about planning your cruise from end to end, let us know in the comment section. We would love to hear from you, and we will take on kind of your thoughts and opinions, and we'll have a show about it. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and another thing that we're going to be getting into is pricing. I mean, there are cruise lines
Ooh.
that cost you can go on a 7-day cruise for over $15,000 a person for an interior room, or I could go on 15 Carnival cruises for 15 weeks for $15,000. And so there's so many different cruise lines out there. Which is best for you? And I just cannot wait to deep dive into all of that.
Exactly right. Well, let's get into this episode. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a fun episode where we discuss how do you pick your cruise? How do you pick that cruise after you've done all your research? You've looked at all the ships. You've looked at the embarkation ports. You looked at your time off. How do you eventually pick the cruise that is right for you? That's the question. How do you pick the cruise that is right for you? Now, the answer is different depending on who you ask. There are so many factors involved in trying to decide, how do I pick the cruise that is right for me? Alex, I'm going to let you start off on maybe sharing one or two things that you have seen people consider when they're trying to pick the cruise that's right for them.
Certainly. Well, personally, I used to always cruise out of Galveston, just strictly Galveston. I didn't care if it went to the same ports. I just wanted to cruise out of my home port because it's
Mm-hmm.
close and I don't have to pay extra to fly anywhere. But over the last couple of years, I've been getting some casino offers and I've had an opportunity to cruise out of different ports, Port Canaveral, Long Beach, Seattle, and just some other ports. And it's been really, really fun. And that's something I would challenge you all is if you only feel safe going out of your home port, definitely shop around and see what else is out there. There are so many great ships and other different ports. But for me, I still look at price. And I look at the cheapest balcony I can get on a specific sailing. Do I still love cruising out of Galveston? 100%. I'll be
Yeah.
going out of Galveston next month with my dad. So Galveston has the Carnival Jubilee, which is the newest Excel class ship, and so that's another thing. Is it the ship that you choose instead of just the port itself? And so there's really not a lot of things I look at anymore. I just go where the best price is, and if I have to get on a plane, I'm going to do it because cruising's my life. So
Yeah. Yep. Alex, we are at the first half of the show, and you've already had, I think, what will be the point of the entire show. Amanda and I deal with every single week people who live close to a home port, for instance, Galveston, Texas, and that is what I consider our home port as well. And they cruise out of there every time they cruise, every single time. And they mention, why would I fly somewhere else and spend money on airfare when I live an hour, 3 hours from
yep.
Galveston, Texas? And it's a great question. It is. But as you said, you have had the opportunity to cruise from other home ports, and it's expanded your horizons. You've enjoyed it, and I would encourage everyone to let's get the pen and paper and let's look at the math, right? Because let's say you go on a 7-day cruise on the Jubilee, you pay for parking, which is around $100, right?
Mm-hmm.
We might be able to fly you to Miami for $300, $400 round trip, and you're not going to have to pay for your parking, so take $100 off of that.
Right.
Plus, leaving out of Florida, going to the Virgin Islands, going somewhere south, there are so many cheap options. When you go to St. Thomas and you go to Megan's Bay Beach for $5, it's a taxi ride, $5 bill. When you go to St.
Wow.
Martin and you go to Maho Beach where the planes fly over your head and the taxi is $10. Where maybe you usually go in Cozumel, you might go to Mr. Sancho's and you might spend $100 bill on the taxi and paying to get into Mr. Sancho's and things like that. And so sometimes I want to share this with you because, again, this is already the point of the show. Sometimes when you put the pen and paper together, you can go out of Miami, you can go out of Port Canaveral, and we can plan your trip in such a way that really the price difference from leaving out of Galveston and somewhere in Florida is a lot less than what you think.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, whenever you were talking about $5 here and $10 there, think of the money that you can save if you just choose to not get the drink package that one week on the ship.
Yeah,
That right there is what, $300 or so, Derek, per
yeah, at
person.
least. Yes,
And
yes,
so that right there, if you just sacrifice a little bit, that is your airfare to Miami or to Port Canaveral or to New York, where you can
yep,
get on the Venezia. And there's
yep.
just, if you just sacrifice a little bit here and there, you can see the whole world really when it comes
That's
to
right.
cruising.
That's
But
right.
I do
And that
love, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's not to say that cruising right now, when you look at it, is more expensive out of Galveston, Texas, than just about every Florida home port. So if you're not getting that good casino offer, if you're paying the regular price, we might be able to let you, give you pricing out of Florida, and you see different ports of call, you see different ships, and maybe that cruise is $300 or $400 cheaper than what you would pay at a Galveston anyway, which pays for the majority of your plane ticket.
Yeah. And I don't know if whenever you're giving quotes to clients. But when I look at Carnival out of Long Beach, they're basically giving those cruises away for free. And I
They
ask
are.
myself when I look at prices out of Galveston, you're right. I mean, you can still go on a 7 night cruise on the Panorama or the Jubilee, and the price difference is just astronomical. And I don't know why, but I mean, I know Galveston's popular and Long
Yeah.
Beach isn't as popular, but man, there's a lot of really cool things to see out there.
Yeah, you're giving all the secrets away. Honestly, if you're someone, and we're talking about picking our cruise, that's what this episode is all about. How do I pick the cruise that is best for me? And yes, going out of Texas, out of Galveston, is great. I've done it 20 plus times. I love it. Alex has too. But when you look at Long Beach, when you look at New York City, it can be scary, right? I'm going to fly into Los Angeles. I'm going to fly into New York City. It's not as scary as what you think. And those cruises, like Alex said, they have problems for whatever reason filling those ships. Cruising just isn't as popular when you get to the coast. Uh, Look at it when you're picking the cruise that is right for you. Don't limit yourself to what you have done time after time. Don't go to that website and say depart from Galveston, Texas, and New Orleans, because that's what I always do. Go ahead and leave that filter wide open. Instead, you can look at other filters like where do I want to go? I want to go to the Caribbean. I want to go to the Bahamas. I want to look at a Panama Canal. I want to go to New England. How would a fall cruise be? That would be a lot of fun.
That
Leave
would
those
be so
filters,
awesome.
yeah, leave those filters open. Leave them open. Don't do the same thing every time. And as much as I'm talking to you and looking at this camera, I need to look just below the camera because there's my face on the screen, and I need to talk to myself too. I need to go different places, look at different filters. Yeah. One thing that I'll share, Alex, when you talk about, how do you pick your cruise, the cruise that's right for you? We have a big part of our audience that has fixed schedules. We have a lot of people who are either teachers and have that school schedule. We are part of that group. Amanda being a teacher, we know when our breaks are. We know when summer is. We know, are we off the entire week of Thanksgiving? Or are we just off for 3 days of Thanksgiving? So some people, when you ask them, how do you pick your cruise? They say, I have to follow my school schedule.
Yeah.
Some people are doctors and nurses, and they have to follow that schedule. And some people are in the military, even, and know when they can take off, when they can't take off, things like that. And so that's another point that people say when they're trying to pick the cruise right for them is, I kind of know these are like the 4 or 5 weeks of the year that I can cruise.
Yeah, and you know what? The cruise lines know when school season is
Oh my
because
God.
I'm actually looking at pricing for my entire family of six to go on the Jubilee next summer. And Derek, I need to talk to you about that after the show.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
getting some ideas together, and 1 week apart, where the kids are out of school, and then the next week the kids are in school. The price per balcony drops like $800
Oh
per
my
person.
gosh.
And it's just because the cruise lines know when the kiddos are in school. And you guys feel that because, like you said, Amanda's
Yeah.
a teacher, and you can really only cruise
Yeah.
when she's not teaching.
Exactly. That one of the biggest negatives of travel and having someone in education is you're going to be out of school when everyone else is. Everyone wants to travel the peak season. And Alex, I don't know if cruise lines have someone monitoring school schedules, but you're exactly right. You can look at the cruise schedule and see that the third week in May, a family of four can go on the Jubilee for $2,000. Not a bad price right there. But literally the next week, the last week in May, the first week of June, that same cruise is now $4,500. So, I mean, it's like
It's
they get
insane.
a copy of the school schedule, do they not?
Yep. And everything on the ship is the same. The food's the same. Cruise director's the same. You're going to go to the same ports. The weather's going to be the same. It's just they know. And they're not going to have a problem filling the ship up, whether it's full
No.
of kids or just old people. They just,
Yeah.
ah, that's
Yeah.
one thing I would change if I became president. I would change the way they price cruises.
That's right. Hey, be careful. You might win. We have an election coming up, okay?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I will say this. When people think about how do I pick the cruise that's right for me, there's a large group of people that do not pick their cruise when school is out because of that reason. The price is high. And how many times, Alex, have we seen on social media? I went on a cruise and the ship was full of kids Do we not see that all the time? And
all
it's
the
like,
time.
you're cruising in the middle of July. There's no school. Yes, there's 1,000
What
kids on board. What did you
what do you
think?
expect? And not
What
only
do you
that,
expect?
this might be just like a little side alley here, but I guess I need to vent a little bit. They're like when people cruise Carnival, they complain so much that oh, there's so many kids. Well, it's called the fun ship. Like, what do you expect? I mean,
Yeah,
it is the number one family cruise line in the entire
it is.
world. If you don't want
It
to see
is.
kids, trust me, you can go on another cruise line. You're going to pay a little bit more,
Yeah.
but kids are fun. Do I like them banging on my door at 3 a.m.? No, but that's a whole other episode.
It is. Well, and one thing that we hear oftentimes, and one thing that I've thought to myself is you're on board in June or July. There are kids everywhere. You look at the hot tub, you want to get in the hot tub. I mean, heck, you paid for the cruise. These kids, they didn't work and pay for the cruise. And you look at that hot tub, and there's 20 kids in the hot tub. And you're like,
Oof.
are you kidding me? I've got my swimsuit on. I wanted to get in, but I'm not going to get in with those 20 kids. And you blame the kids, but you should not blame the kids. Maybe you should be blaming the cruise line. There are certain cruise lines, it rhymes with Royal Caribbean, okay? Rhymes with the Royal Caribbean that have pools and hot tubs for kids. Literally, they have sections of the ship that have a little splash pad, has a little hot tub, and all the moms and dads take their kids to that particular hot tub so that all the other hot tubs are free of kids. Now, I'm not saying that happens on every royal ship because it's not available on every royal ship, but those big ships, the Oasis class ships, they have these areas for kids. And it's not a rule that they can't be in other hot tubs, so I'm trying to clarify. But it is likely that they go to those hot tubs that were designed for them. Kids want to be around other kids. And so don't always blame the kids. You can also blame the cruise line.
That's right. That's right. You know what? Club O2, they need to start putting a hot tub right outside of Club O2 on
There it is.
Carnival.
Yep.
Who do we
Hey,
need to
we might
call?
chip in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll buy some more stock, whatever you need,
That's right.
Carnival.
That's right. That's right. Um, Speaking of stocks, I'll share this. This is I'm not a financial advisor at all, but I do invest in cruise lines, and cruise line stocks have been through the roof. Carnival Corporation had their earnings reports just less than 2 weeks ago, shot up 7%. But the hurricane, and it does this. People watch for these things. The hurricane made cruise line stocks go down just a little bit. So if you're an investor, or maybe you're looking to buy your 100 shares to get your $100 onboard credit on a 7-day cruise, and maybe you buy and sell the same day, the price has gone down since Hurricane Beryl by like 5 or 6%. So again, not a financial advisor, but I look for dips like that, and this is something that I'll share on the show from time to time.
Well, I'm actually going to look right now to see what the stock is. It closed
Yeah,
at $17.56 today, and today is
yeah,
Monday, July 8th.
yep,
So
yeah, not bad at
get
all.
in while it's
Pre-COVID,
hot.
that's right. Pre-COVID, it was $55 a share, and it got as
And
low as $8 a
yeah,
couple of years ago.
I bought quite a few shares when COVID hit, and I was like, man, I'm going to be rich, and I ended up selling them for some stupid reason. But yeah, I was one of
We're
those. I
moving
mean,
on up, as the Jeffersons used to say. Moving on up for
that's
sure.
right. That's right.
Yep. Another reason why, as we get back into why do people choose the cruise that they actually choose to sell on, and this is a large population. We've talked about price a little bit. Price is always going to be a factor. You're going to choose a cruise that you think is a good deal, and location, like Alex pointed out, home port may be close to you, so you choose that port. But there's a large group of the cruise community that chooses their cruises based on ports of call. Where is the ship going? Where is it going to take you? And those people will pay whatever they have to pay. It may be a $2,500 cruise. It may be literally, I see this, $8,500, $12,000, because they want to go on this particular itinerary on this particular time of year. They want to see this group of islands or countries together, and they don't mind opening up the pocketbook a little bit and paying for their cruise because they want to go to these locations. Alex, have you ever booked a cruise simply because of the itinerary where the ship was going?
You know, I took my sister on the Panorama back in 2022. We went out of Long Beach and we went to Cabo. We had never been to Cabo, Puerto
Hmm.
Vallarta, never been there. Um, forgot the other one, but we didn't get off the ship there. Maybe it wasn't Ensenada. It was one of those
Malazan or
Mazatlan. Yeah, we didn't even get
Mazatlan.
off the ship.
Yes.
Yeah, but and of course Alaska. But my dream would be to just go anywhere out of Europe, like you guys are going to
Yeah.
go next week.
We're excited about that. Rome, Italy to Athens, Greece. That is definitely a cruise that we picked based on where the ship is going and where that's why we booked the cruise. And there's a lot of different ports of call in Europe. There's a lot of places to cruise around Europe, and it's so easy. One thing that we forget sometimes, or at least I'm guilty of it, is how relatively small Europe is. Those countries over there are the size of states, some states here. And so you can leave Italy and you can visit on a 7-day cruise, you can visit 3 or 4 countries. And so we're excited about that. We paid a pretty penny for it. Don't get me wrong. And I say pretty penny, I'll be open with you because so many people ask these questions. But our cruise was just around $3,500 for the 4 of us for a 7-day cruise on the New Sun Princess.
Oh,
But
that's
that's not
cheap
bad.
though.
Yeah, if we went on the Jubilee or the Wonder of the Seas, it would be $3,500 or more for a Caribbean cruise right now.
To go to
So,
Cozumel.
yes, to go back to Cozumel. And so that's another tip there. When you're looking for your cruise, don't just, and I talked about the filters earlier, and I mean it. Don't filter yourself so narrow that you end up with options that you've had time after time again. Look at Europe. Look at Europe. You could go on a cruise to Europe for the same price as a cruise to the Caribbean. And then you're going to say, well, Derek, I have to get there. I'll tell you this. I'll be transparent. Our airfare round trip from a little bitty airport in Little Rock, Arkansas to Rome and then Athens back to Little Rock was just over $600 per person round trip.
It's a steal.
Again, it's how can I cut $600 from my cruise experience? Maybe I don't buy the drink package because there's 6 ports in 7 days and I'm not going to be able to drink that much or whatever it may be. I'm just trying to advise you, give you that advice to look everywhere that you can, do everything you can to see what cruise is best for you, because where you finally land may be a completely different place than where you thought you would land when you started your search.
Yeah, and for me, I used to strictly only go out of Galveston, but
Yep.
Cozumel is my favorite port of call.
Yes.
But I could also go out of Miami, Port Canaveral, New Orleans, Tampa. Where am I missing any others? I mean, there's so many other ports or places I can cruise out of that goes to my favorite port or my favorite place in Mexico, which is Cozumel. There's a lot of things to choose, and Derek is right. Unfilter everything and just look at the destination, not the departure port.
That's right. That's right. Choose your dates. That's where I always tell people dates, usually kind of when you can go, or maybe you're open. Maybe you're selecting February through September. And then don't even choose your departure port at first. Just choose your dates. Maybe the duration, the length. Maybe I can't go for more than 7 days. Or, hey, I have 2 weeks here. Let's look at a 10-day cruise, a 12-day cruise, and go down that journey and see where you arrive instead of making your decision for yourself before you take the journey, right? There's lessons in the journey of selecting that cruise process, not just, I'm going to start here and I know I'm going to end here. Go the distance of the journey and find what cruise is best for you. There's another reason, Alex, I can think of that people consider when they're trying to find a cruise that is right for them, and that is the ship. Cruise ships.
That's right.
It's unbelievable what cruise lines are doing across the industry. And I'm like, I love competition. I think competition it gives us the best of each other. I think competition drives prices down. I think competition pushes us to be better. And whether you're an MSC lover and you love the new, for instance, the World America coming out very, very soon, or you're a Royal Caribbean lover and they have the Icon and the Utopia coming out later this month, or you're a Carnival lover and the Jubilee is here, or Norwegian with the Prima class, everywhere you look, these ships have become destinations themselves.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, just like I was telling you a minute ago, when we were on the Panorama, we didn't even get off the ship in one of the ports because I love staying on the ship in at least one port, unless it's a place I've never been before, because
Yeah,
it gives me an opportunity to really go check out the ship where there's not a lot of people on. And that's kind of a little cruise tip. If you want to get some content or get some pictures, or just kind of have a quiet ship to yourself, you can lay out on Lido deck or in the adults only area. That is the best time is when the ship is in port. And I'm all about it. I'm all about
yeah,
it to check out these new ships, and you get to see a brand new ship next week. And also, Derek,
yeah,
I watched your live episode today from last night, and
yeah.
you mentioned something that you did a little sneaky looking at some records, and you found that is Royal building another ship?
Man, it is. I told you earlier before we started the podcast that I was looking, and it's Amanda calls me a nerd, but I look at those
I
order
love it.
books. These shipbuilders, they have to order all this material literally years in advance to build a cruise ship. Think about the steel that's got to be there, and the fixtures and flooring, and the contractors. The big piece is the thousands of people who work on these ships. And the more that I looked at it, we have the Icon is out. She's selling. The Star of the Seas is coming out next year. There's a third Icon class ship. We don't know the name yet. And I was looking at some different things that pointed to Royal Caribbean ordering a fourth Icon class ship. And there's been nothing official out yet, but everything I saw yesterday, and I text someone that I know that works for a shipyard, and he will not tell me specifically. I'll make that clear. But I was like, am I seeing something here? And he's like, what you see is what you see, was his response. So
Oh
we'll
man,
have to follow Royal Caribbean and see, man, if there's four Icon class ships, you could almost guarantee that Galveston, Texas, and their $125 million new terminal will get one of
yeah.
those.
I've been told that it's ready for an Icon class ship.
Uh,
Maybe in 3 or 4
yeah,
years it will be the Icon of the seas, which would
yeah,
be incredible.
we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it definitely. And I'll say this: I love Carnival to death. I'll take a bullet for them any day. But when it comes to cruise ships and production, Royal is killing it.
Oh, it is unreal. And people ask the difference all the time between Carnival and Royal. 90 plus percent, maybe 95% of the experience is the same. It is. You're going to have a very similar experience. But Royal Caribbean and what they're doing with their ships is unreal. And Alex, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Uh, the nicer marble floors, the nicer chandeliers, the fittings. Just when you step onto a royal ship, and some people say it feels like it's a mall. They're just they took some time and some extra money. For instance, the Icon of the Seas was over $2 billion, and the Jubilee was like 1.2, 1.4. Okay, and yes, the Icon is bigger, not by a ton, actually several thousand tons, but um, but she's Royal. Just they do things just a little bit different, and you can feel those things.
Well, I mean, just hanging out on the Jubilee for the week, I thought I don't think they could have done anything better on that ship.
No,
And
no,
if
it is
this just kind of
remarkable.
goes to show you what all their ships are going to look like moving forward, I mean, just comparing the Jubilee to the Mardi Gras,
Oh
same
my
ship,
gosh,
just a
yeah,
couple years apart. I just think the Jubilee, what they did with the
yeah,
finishings on the Jubilee, gorgeous.
yeah.
And this is why I'm
Innovative,
going back.
yes, cutting edge technology. It fills the part. You start it almost feels. I'll say it. And Carnival faithful, don't get mad at me. I am a Carnival faithful. It starts to feel like a royal ship.
Yeah,
Just your surroundings, and you look around. And like I said, the lighting. They took part in the lighting and the fixtures and the big the staircase that has all the fish swimming around. You didn't see that
yep,
on the Vista class. You didn't see that on the Dream class. You saw just colors and things like that on the
right.
wall. You didn't see all these sculptures and stuff. And so, Alex, there's something else I want to point out, and I really want your advice on this. I have not shared this even on my channel. We have so many people who try to choose what cruise is best for them, and there's some people that are so lucky and blessed that they're able to go on a back to back. We book a ton of back to back cruises, and we do our best to get our passengers, our clients in the same cabin, so you don't have to pack up. That's kind of cool. That
Hmm.
one cruise is done, you don't have to pack up. You can stay in your cabin for the next week. But here lately, I've been advising a lot of my clients to not do a back to back. If you want to do two cruises, we're going to do two cruises, but I want them to have two different experiences, two different ports of call, two different ships. And so what I've been doing, you can call it a side to side if you want to. Sometimes it's the same day, sometimes it's the next day. But let's say that you're going, out of Galveston, and you go on the Jubilee, and you have a great week there, but you want to have a second week. I've been encouraging my clients, let's go on the Jubilee, have a fantastic experience. Let's hop off and let's see what Royal Caribbean has to offer. Let's go on the Harmony of the Seas and let's take that for a week. You're going to have a slightly different itinerary. You're going to go for 14 days. You're going to see two different ships. You're going to see a lot of different restaurants. You're going to see a lot of different shows, especially when it comes to comedy shows and then the Broadway style shows. Some people don't think about this when they book a back-to-back cruise with Royal Caribbean or Carnival. It's the same shows week
Hmm.
after week. It's this, and they're great shows. And then sometimes even comedians will have a 2 week stint or a 3 week stint on the ship. And so if you're a comedy person and you had fun the great week, and now you go the second week and it's the same comedian, same shows, it may damper your cruise experience a little bit. So Alex, I've been suggesting maybe you don't do a back to back. Maybe you do a side by side, same day, or maybe your first leg gets there one day. You have to stay in the hotel, and then you leave out the next day on another 7 day cruise. What do you think about that? Picking that for your cruise instead of a traditional back to back.
I think that's a cool idea. Actually, I think that's a really cool idea. Not only you get to check out the Jubilee for a week, then just you stay a night in Galveston and you get on Harmony the next day.
Yeah,
You get to see the port of Galveston a little bit more. What I'm doing next month is I'm going on the Jubilee for a week, and then it comes back, and then I'm going to be hopping on the Carnival Dream that same day for 8 nights,
that's
and
right.
it's going to be a completely different itinerary. Um, One itinerary is going to go to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Roatan. Then the next week on the Dream, I'm going to go to Freeport, Key West, Nassau, Half Moon Cay. So it's going to be 15 nights of all different
Oh,
ports,
so
different
cool. Good
ships.
Lord. Yeah.
Um, and I'm super, super excited about that. Um, so that's
Yeah.
also kind of a
Different shows, different crew.
side to side type thing. It's a
Yes,
different
it
ship.
is. It is.
Still same cruise line, but I like that idea, especially if you're in
Yeah,
like Miami or somewhere where there's
exactly.
4 or 5 different cruise lines. You
Yeah.
could go 4 or 5 different weeks on 4 or 5 different lines.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I've kind of worked it in. I give people quotes on what they want, but I'll say, what if you did that 7 night on, let's say at a Miami that you go on the Carnival Celebration. You do your 7 nights, but you still have some time, and you've never tried Virgin Voyages. They have a 5 night cruise. Why don't you try Virgin? Or you've never tried MSC. They have a 5 night cruise. Why don't you try MSC? Just you're already there. You've paid for your plane
Yeah.
tickets. Let's get you a different experience. And a lot of times those shorter cruises are cheaper. Let's get you a different experience, a different ship, a different cruise line. And I really think people have started to gravitate to that. Again, I'm a travel advisor. I can throw something at you, and if you don't like it, you can throw it twice as hard back at me, and I'm not going to get offended. But my part of my job is to listen, of course, what you want to do and to price that out, but to say, hey, here's an alternative if you want to do it. And a lot of people have welcomed that idea of having two different experiences, 2 different weeks or two different cruises.
Well, and I'm sure I've told you this 100 times, but as soon as I hit Diamond on Carnival, I'm gonna go just test out every cruise line there is.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, now I will say I would rather do Carnival because Royal is more expensive and money
Right
doesn't
now
grow
they
on
are.
trees at yeah, money doesn't grow on trees at my house. But whereas Carnival, I get really good deals. But
Yeah,
I can't wait for MSC to come to Galveston.
I know.
I want to check out Princess when she's here in the
Yep.
wintertime. There's so many things just Norwegian. There's so many cruise lines
Yep.
just in Galveston. Galveston's going to be the next Miami before you know it.
Yep. They are growing. Number 4 already And of course, Roger Reese and everyone there at Galveston Wharves, they continue to have plans to continue to build the new terminal with MSC. Of course, they're doing the best they can to get shore power ready, where ships can literally plug in to the port, turn your engines off. It'd be a whole lot more sustainable. They've got a lot of plans over there in Galveston, as do a lot of U.S. home ports, but Galveston's doing a great job. They really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Choosing cruises, choosing the cruise right for you. We have covered price. We have covered timing or schedules. We have covered ports of call that are being visited. We have covered not filtering yourself too thin. We have covered not maybe doing a back-to-back, doing a side-by-side, something like that. Covered a ton of different reasons why people do what they do when they select a cruise that they want to. Alex, can you think of any others? Any other factors that people consider when they're choosing their cruise?
I can't, other than who they want to take with them, and hopefully they take me with them.
Exactly. If you need someone to go with you, you let Alex and I know, and Alex and I will play rock, paper, scissors. We'll live stream it,
Yes.
and we'll see who's going to win. And the loser's got to pay for the airfare for the other person.
Oh, it sounds like a great deal, man.
I love it. I love it. This is just the first part in this series, how to select the cruise that's perfect for you. It is the beginning of the series, and we have so much more to share with you going through the lifespan of your cruise. So today we talked about picking out your cruise. Next week, we're going to talk about kind of the activity that happens after you book your cruise and before you go on your cruise. So what happens during that time, what you should be doing during that time, what you should book, what needs to be booked, what you don't have to book during that time, the things that you buy before you cruise, all that stuff we're going to talk about next week. But we do want to give you that opportunity. Alex and I mentioned earlier, we have some episodes or some weeks we've left open to you. What are some episodes that you want to hear? Some discussion points that you want to hear? We would love to receive those from you and plug it into our schedule and discuss those things.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section below. And if you are not already a subscriber on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. If you have not followed us on the Cruisers Podcast Facebook page, follow us there. It doesn't cost you a dime. It is completely free, and we would greatly appreciate it.
That's right. Alex, I hope that everything in Texas is going to be okay. There's a lot of people traveling this week, as I said. We have a lot of clients traveling to Galveston. Please, please, please be careful. Do not drive in those waters. They say turn around, don't drown.
That's right.
Pay attention to the road. You might look up the road conditions and what roads are open. We are praying for all of you who have been impacted and hope that everyone stays safe. One thing about cloudy days and stormy days is that there are always days with sunshine to follow. You just have to have the right support system to get to those sunny days. And this community hopefully shares some of that positivity and bright sunlight that we all need. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your attendance today. Of course, if you have questions, let us know in the comment section below. Until then, I am Derek.
And I am Alex.
We'll see you next week on the Cruisers Podcast.